All right, guys, this weekend is going to be UFC London, and I am so pumped for this one. There's two fighters in particular that I'm so excited to see back in the cage. I'm going to give you guys my main picks for the main card. Let's get down into it right now, straight away with Lerone Murphy versus the Aussie Josh Calvillo. Guys, these are two prospects, and it's an awesome learning fight for us. Like, Lerone Murphy, great striker. He's got great takedowns. Josh is a dirty, gritty fighter. He gets right down into it. He won his last fight by dropping Melsik Bagdasaryan with a jab, guys. And I love these kind of fighters that have that dog in them and like to get rough and gritty. I reckon a lot of people are going to be going with Lerone Murphy, you know, that hometown advantage. Bit of a, like, slicker, cleaner fighter than Josh Calvillo is, but I've got to go with my countryman here. I've got to go with the Aussie Josh Calvillo. It's a worrying one, though. This one could easily come back to bite me in the ass, like just picking an Aussie to win, but I do think that he's got more of that dog in him, more of that grit in him, but it is going to be a nasty fight for him. Lerone Murphy is no joke, guys. But I'm going to be going with Josh Calvillo. Let's get on to the next fight on the main card. It's going to be Jai Herbert versus Fares Ziam. Guys, I can see what the UFC were trying to do with this one. It's a classic England versus France matchup for the fans. I know why they wanted to do this one, but I think this one might be a snooze fest on the card, guys. They're both rangy, methodical strikers. And as we know, guys, when you put two fighters with that same style in the cage, it can lead to a bit of like a Israel Adesanya, Yoel Romero situation, or a Israel Adesanya, Jared Cannonier situation where there's just a lot of looking around and picking your shots and not an actual, like, a lot of action going for your shots. So this is one of those fights, guys, where it could be a bit boring to watch. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we finished that first round and, you know, the comments section, Twitter, everything's just Z, sleep, snooze fest. I could easily see that happening, which is unfortunate because there will be a lot of hype in the arena going into this fight. When it comes down to the actual fight, what would I be looking for and who would I pick? Well, Jai, he's got no takedown defense at all, and he seems to be one of those guys that just accepts being on the bottom. Whereas Fares showed us that he has takedowns. He has a good fight IQ, and I think he can use that to squeeze out a win in the second and the third round here. I'm always going to go with the fighter that has more tools in the bag, and with Fares showing us that he actually has some takedowns and has some grappling and knows how to use it, I think I'm going to use that to pick him over Jai here. And here we go. This is going to be one of my favorite fights on the card, guys, purely because I get to see Paul Craig do his walkout. I get to hear a Paul Craig interview. I love everything that Paul Craig brings to the sport. Just that, like, Scottish flair, the madness that is a Paul Craig fight. Like, he's going to lose, he's going to lose, he's going to lose. And then he just pulls out a submission out of nowhere. Like, he's a very hard fighter to be a fan of because his style is the kind of style where he only turns it on once he's losing. He's such a funny bloke. I need him around in the top 10 purely because he gets put high up on cards when he's in the top 10. He'll make it onto a pay-per-view when he's in the top 10. And he's just one of those, like, UFC fighter characters that's such a fun little sprinkle to have whenever we've got, like, a bit of a quiet card, a bit of a dead card. And if Paul Craig loses this one, you know, then he's on a skid and we're not going to be seeing him again. He's going to be kicked back to the prelims at the Apex, and I don't want that for Paul Craig. I don't think any of us want that for Paul Craig. He's going to be going up against Andre Muniz, which means after the striking match that we're going to be having in the fight before this one, we're probably going to be seeing a jiu-jitsu match in this one. Andre looked a bit old for me in his last fight, and I know it's a bit hard to judge him on that considering how Craig looked on his last fight, but I think Craig has still got that fire in him. Like, Craig is always looking for a finish, always looking to get it done, and Andre Muniz just looks like he's a bit over the hill and just here for the paycheck right now. I do believe Muniz is going to drop Craig with the hands, and Paul Craig is going to go for his classic make or break scramble. But I think that Andre Muniz is actually going to engage him with that because Andre Muniz has really good jiu-jitsu. So he'll be happy to play around in that arena with Paul Craig. And that's where I think Craig will actually just out-grit him and get the win via submission. Second round, first round, probably a classic Paul Craig win here where he's going to be losing on the hands and then he comes out and gets that submission win. I think Andre Muniz is the perfect dance partner to see one of those moments, and then we can all get back on this, like, not really like championship hype train, but just have a good time. Paul Craig, hype train. You know what I mean? Nathan Wood versus Andre Philly. Wood's back after an injury. He's a great striker, great grappler. He's a very good all-round fighter. 29, which is like getting into that peak age. He's coming off a win, you know, going up against Andre Philly. That's, you know, Team Alpha Male. Had a good career, like fought everyone, but he is 33, which means he is getting over his peak performance. But that also means that he is coming with a lot of experience, and he's also another guy coming off a win. This is another like classic UFC matchup. Let's take someone who might be over the hill coming off a win, someone who's peaking, coming off an injury, coming off a win, and let's just see exactly where they are in the rankings standing against each other. Philly's chin though can be sus, and his fight IQ can be sus. It depends what day you're gonna get him on, whether or not he's gonna be an accurate striker or whether or not he's gonna be a brawler. He gets hit a lot. But then having said that, he also hits back hard a lot as well. When it comes to this one though, guys, I can't trust someone with a low fight IQ that gets drawn into battles like this. So I'm going to be going with Nathan Wood here. I think this one is going to be a fun fight. It could turn into a bit of a war, and I do think Nathan Wood's going to be the one to squeeze out the victory here, guys. I do think that we're probably going to be looking at a decision win here or a late, you know, third round TKO for Nathan Wood. Then next up the card, it's going to be Molly McCann versus Julia Stoliarenko. Molly McCann is going to win. And then finally, we get to the main event. Tom Aspinall is back against Marcin Tybura. Tom Aspinall, obviously, guys, coming off that horrible knee injury. Marcin Tybura, grindy, hard heavyweight. Tom Aspinall, man, he's a fun dude. He's good on the mic. He's great for the heavyweight division. He brings some life into it. He's young. He's a rangy boxer, but he also is really good grappling. He's like the perfect MMA fighter for heavyweight, you know? Not just like Cyril Gane, who's a really good kickboxer for heavyweight. Like Tom Aspinall is the dude that I'm getting behind here. Like I have a lot of hype, a lot of investment. Like I want to see this guy win. You know, before the injury, this would have been like a Tom Aspinall, 100% going to beat Marcin Tybura, but we've had the injury now. I do think that Aspinall has got a smart camp behind him. You know, his dad's on his team. The whole camp seems to be very switched on, and I can't see them not having properly tested that knee out for the last 3 months or even 3 months ago, like kicking the heavy bag hard, bringing in wrestlers, doing some hard wrestling rounds, checking in with the doctor every single week, checking in with the physio every single week, like making sure that this knee is 100% before you put Tom Aspinall as the main event in London again. I think they would have done that. I think that work is done, which means I think Tom's going to be going into this with his confidence back and his swagger back. It's one of those like freak injuries that just happen. So this is going to be something that he's going to be able to work with his team. And I think we're going to see a good comeback from Tom Aspinall. So I'm putting my hopes back on Tom Aspinall. We need him to get the win. We need John Jones versus Stipe Miocic to be done and dusted. We need them both to retire. And then we need Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Pavlovich for a UFC heavyweight championship, the new era of the UFC heavyweight division. We can move on from this Francis Ngannou, John Jones, 3 years of purgatory that we've been in with the heavyweight division. We can move on from giving Cyril Gane a title shot every second pay-per-view, and we can actually like reinvigorate the UFC heavyweight division with Russia versus England. Like that is the storyline that I want to see come to life here, and it is sort of hinging on this weekend and whether or not Tom Aspinall can get that win. So I'm going to be like on the edge of my seat for this heavyweight fight, which is nice for heavyweight. Like this is what Tom Aspinall brings to heavyweight. You don't usually like this. You know, usually heavyweight, it's just two old fat guys or someone who has a puncher's chance. Like, no, we've got like heavyweight MMA. He brings like his own vibe to it. Like it's great to watch. So I'm on the edge of my seat for this one. I am praying for a Tom Aspinall win. Guys, let me know your picks down in the comments. I want to hear them. I want to talk about them when the fights are over. Let's see who was wrong, who was right. This is what makes MMA so fun. If you guys are enjoying these videos, maybe consider subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next one.